Although the Great Depression brought hard times to America, it was a time of profound cultural and economic change. Its inception was when Black Tuesday hit Wall Street as investors traded 16 million shares in the New York Stock Exchange within a single day. Billions of dollars were lost and thousands of investors were wiped out. It is the spark that set off the Great Depression. The stock market machinery could not handle the tremendous volume of trading. Wall Street was sent into a spiraling panic. The United States slumped into the Great Depression. During this same time, crime rates rose and gangs appeared in major cities. The crimes these gangs committed included robbery, kidnappings, auto thefts, gambling, and drug trafficking. This made the weakness of the police force very apparent to the public. Al Capone, a key character and leader during the time period, is a notorious gangster. He had built up a reputation from being involved in gang rivalries and several organized crimes. Of these organized crimes, the most famous is the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It was one of the most highly regarded cases of violence in Chicago. 7 mob associates that were led by Bugs Moran, a rival gangster, were gunned down. This is ultimately what led the Bureau to begin investigating Al Capone, but they were not able to get involved at the time because the massacre was not a federal offense. It wasn't until 1 month later that the FBI was able to begin an investigation. Capone's lawyers had postponed his appearance before a federal grand jury because he had allegedly contracted bronchial pneumonia. The original appearance date of March 12th had been pushed to March 20th. Agents had received tips that Capone had attended races and even traveled to the Bahamas during that time, and in a healthy state. When he finished his testimony on March 27th, he was arrested under contempt of court. He would be tried in court 4 more times over the following years of his life, until his death on January 25th, 1947. John Dillinger was also a notorious and vicious criminal. He was the first public enemy of the FBI. From September 1933 to July 1934, his gang brought havoc upon the Midwest by robbing banks, killing 10 men, and breaking out of jail on 3 separate occasions. Dillinger's first organized crime sparked when he was unable to find any work in Indianapolis to support him and his wife. He joined Ed Singleton, a pool shark, in an attempt to rob a local grocery store. They were quickly taken into custody, and Dillinger received joint sentences of 2 to 14 years and 10 to 20 years. On May 10th, he was paroled from prison after 8.5 years, and he immediately robbed an Ohio bank. He was arrested on September 22nd, and the police found a plan to break out from prison while searching him. Dillinger denied any knowledge of the plan, but he escaped from the Indiana State Prison just 4 days later using the same plan. His gang used shotguns and rifles, and in the process killed 2 guards. A month later, a parolee and 3 of the escaped prisoners showed up with concealed arms to the jail where Dillinger was held. They shot a sheriff, locked his wife and the deputy into a cell, and freed Dillinger. They then continued to rob banks and rob police arsenals of several rifles, machine guns, revolvers, bulletproof vests, and ammunition. John Dillinger would die a year later when ambushed by 3 FBI agents in an alley. Bonnie Elizabeth Parker and Clyde Chestnut Barrow, aka Bonnie and Clyde, were also criminals during the Great Depression. They killed several civilians and an estimate of 9 police officers. The couple first began their crime spree by robbing small gas stations and stores. They were notorious for killing anyone who got in their way. They continued this for the next 2 years while traveling through Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Louisiana, and New Mexico. They took advantage of the fact that the police could not chase criminals across state borders. Clyde would often change license plates and cars to avoid police as well. In March of 1933, Bonnie and Clyde rented an apartment in Missouri despite the several law enforcement agencies tracking them down. After 2 weeks of living there, Clyde saw 2 police cars and a shootout broke out. They killed 1 policeman and injured another, and they were able to escape with Clyde's brother and his wife. Several months and shootouts later, Bonnie and Clyde were ambushed while trying to contact their families. Clyde was infuriated that the police had put his mother and Bonnie's mother in danger, so he retaliated and took revenge on the Eastham prison farm. He helped several prisoners break out of Eastham. A prisoner named Henry Methvin joined Bonnie and Clyde in their endeavors. Within the next 3 months, Methvin had somehow been separated from the group, and police learned of this on May 19th of 1934. They came to the conclusion that Bonnie and Clyde would look for Methvin at his father's farm. The police set up an ambush on a highway heading towards the farm. setting up the truck of Methvin's father on the side of the road as a decoy. 4 days later, on May 23rd, Clyde spotted the truck and slowed down. This is when 6 police officers opened fire on the two, and they were quickly killed in the rain of over 130 bullets. John Edgar Hoover joined the Department of Justice in 1917 and was named director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation just 3 years later. Determined to right past wrongs, J. Edgar Hoover completely reformed the Bureau. He took advantage of modern technology to improve the Bureau's techniques of investigation. He also improved training and helped the FBI receive more funding from Congress. In the early 1930s, J. Edgar Hoover's crucial decisions for the FBI crystallized its strength. Congress passed several federal crime laws, enhancing the FBI's investigative power. J. Edgar Hoover led several investigations during the 1930s, the majority of which ending in the apprehension of criminals, including the aforementioned John Dillinger. He personally participated in many of these capturings to emphasize the Bureau's opposition to organized crime. Because of the FBI's success, President Roosevelt gave it responsibility of espionage and sabotage investigations. This was near the end of the Great Depression and the beginning of World War II. All in all, the Great Depression triggered a dramatic change of beliefs, customs, and practices. American society was changed forever as a result of the living conditions and social reformations of the time.